Hey everyone, this is Science for Faith, 7th and 8th grades, and today is April 22nd, and we just have a quick lesson. It's over pages 60 through 62, and then you can look at the experiment. That was, if we were here in school, we'd probably just ran out and grabbed a bunch of leaves and looked and compared to see if it was one of these shapes, but we're not, so you're at home, you can run around and do that yourself if you'd like to. So let's take a word of prayer to the Lord and then we'll get started. Heavenly Father, we just want to praise you and thank you for creation, for giving us all kinds of different leaves and all kinds of different flowers and everything that you've provided us. We want to praise you and honor you and thank you for it. And we especially want to praise you and honor you for your Son and for the free gift of salvation that you've given us. We love you in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so first of all, let's do a little housekeeping. This is the 22nd. This is Wednesday, and sorry if I'm rubbing my nose. I might have to get a tissue because it's allergy season, I guess. So we are into chapter 2, continuing over flowers and things like that. And I had a few questions about the wildflower project. So the wildflower project technically would be due not like the week after next. Today's the 22nd. It wouldn't be due until the 5th of May, which I think is which is like a week from this coming Monday, the 27th. Some of you are having difficulty finding enough flowers. That's perfectly fine. If you can do at least 10 flowers, that would be great. If you were here in school, we would have probably spent some time running out and tried to find some flowers, or even maybe had a flower swap where you all could bring extra flowers and maybe swap out with some flowers that other people brought. If you can get out into woods, that's where you could find trillium, which is a really cool flower, and it's not protected. If a few weeks from now, if I can remember it, I'll run out into our own woods that's here behind the school, and I'll try to take a picture of our lady slipper that tends to bloom every spring really close to where the rope swing was, if you can remember where that was at, or grapevine swing, whatever you get to swing on. So I'll try to get a picture of that so you can see it. So it's a really cool flower, and you can find it anywhere. It's a protected kind of rare flower. It's kind of cool that it's really close to our school. So moving on with observing leaves, if you've got your book open, we're just there on page 60 looking at leaves and leaf shapes. And the great variety of leaves, once again, is another testimony to our Creator, because He's able to do such a great variety. Of course, we don't believe in evolution and all these weird things like that. We believe that we are, intelligent design very much created us, and that's why we have such a great variety of things. And leaves are one way that you can figure out what trees are, especially now if they have leaves on them. Now, when we get into the dendrology chapter, which is the next one, I call it dendrology, it's forestry, we will learn more about bark and how to tell trees apart from that. So as you observe leaves, you will be able to observe like 3 basic leaf shapes. There's broad, flat leaves, long, narrow leaves, needle-like or scale-like leaves, and you have got a picture of an aspen there. That is not a tree indigenous to the southern United States. That's very much one that's more western and farther north, and especially that's Colorado state tree. And I was just going to let you know that it has those little flat leaves have a really weird raspy sound they make when they flutter. So it's kind of cool if if you're ever around one. I mean, there might be some people who have trees here that they've just planted just because they thought it was cool. So as you collect and study leaves, or look at leaves, we're not really collecting them, you will be amazed at their orderly and beautiful arrangement. The location of leaves on a plant allows each leaf to have a maximum exposure to light. And the effectiveness of leaf organization basically, once again, illustrates how smart God is. In relation to each other, broad leaves are positioned in an orderly arrangement around the stem, and each type of arrangement depends on the number of leaves at each node. And they've given you leaf shapes here. They've given you leaf arrangements that you can look at. Most leaves attach to the node by a little stalk that's called the petiole. And the leaves of some plants, like grasses, are sessile. They don't have petioles. We learned yesterday about grasses. They attach to the stem not by a petiole, but by a sheath. And remember, and that, once again, is God's design, because as long as animals bite and pick, or we mow, and the sheath is still there, then it's able just to shoot up another blade or continue growing. And that's, once again, just God's design, just of what we needed, and that's how He was able to provide for us. Of course, the most common leaf arrangement is the one that you have there first with the red maple, and that is the opposite, alternate, or some people call them the whorled leaves, the leaf arrangement. So we have opposite, alternate, whorled, or rosette. The most common, those are all the most common arrangements that you've got. So what does opposite mean? Opposite means exactly what it says. Here's one leaf, just like that. So that's opposite. They're one, right across from each other. And then alternate leaves would be, here's a leaf, there's a leaf. Kind of like that. Like if this was opposite, this would be alternate. And then you have alternate leaves, are individual leaves for one for every node that grow in an alternating pattern. The whorl consists of 3 or more leaves that basically grow like what I like to say is like in a pinwheel fashion. And then, so the whorl, you can very much see, the pinwheel. Think of the whorl and then double it, and you have the rosette. The rosette is basically a cluster of leaves that grow around the base of a plant. And the arrangement obtains its name because its leaves are situated like the petals on a rose. And most of the time that's situated not on a vine, but at the very base of a plant. There's just this cluster of leaves at the base of the plant, like a dandelion, like a daisy. The leaves of certain biennials, like carrots and beets, also form rosettes during their first year of growth, and during the second year they normally change and go into an alternate leaf pattern. So plants with simple leaves have only one blade attached to a petiole, and then a compound leaf has more than one blade attached to a petiole. The blades of a compound leaf are called leaflets, and one way to determine if a leaf is simple or compound is you simply look at the bud. A bud will be found at the base of a petiole, but there's no buds at the base of individual leaflets. And you can kind of look at the simple leaves, versus the compound leaves that they have down there. You can kind of see there's an oak. They give you an oak and a dogwood leaf that kind of looks like that. When you look at the compound leaves, I'm not sure they gave you a buckeye, but I was thinking more of a walnut. That's what we have. It's really common that has compound leaves. Maybe a willow or some other type of common tree that's got the compound leaves. Take care not to mistake leaflets on a petiole for leaves on a branch. There are many arrangements of leaflets on a petiole. There are arrangements of leaves that are on a stem. So 2 of the most common are palmate. Wonder where they got palmate. Yeah, that's exactly it's matching your palm. So if it kind of looks like a hand, that's palmate. So 2 of the most common are palmately found or pinnately compound. So a compound leaf is palmately compound when all the leaves attach to a common point, or like all your fingers kind of attached to your palm. Now, of course, that's not exactly like a palm, but that's how I remember it. It's like palmate, palm, kind of like a hand. You can also think of compound leaves like as if the leaflets were fingers. Okay, that's where I was going over what I just said. A compound leaf is pinnately compound if the leaflets attach at intervals along the petiole. Pinnately compound leaves resemble feathers, and when a tree with compound leaves loses its leaves in the autumn, the leaves fall as entire units. The leaflets normally do not fall off individually, and that's why if you've got walnut trees, I guess that's just we have so many walnut trees, and around our house, it's very much looks like that pinnate picture that you got there on 61. And this is what my children can remember it by. Maybe you have experienced this too. You can pick off that little strip with all those leaves on it, and then your parents or grandparents may have done this. I never really did it with my children just because most of the time I was smacking them with something else. But you could pick all the little leaves off of that, and you just had this little branch, and that used to be a little switch. You know, I remember that in my childhood, and I think my husband used that as well. So, and then a willow strip is very similar to that. Now, looking at the leaf margins, you have leaf margins on 61. Leaf margins, or edges, provide another way to distinguish between plants. Some leaves have margins that are entirely smoothed and unbroken, or entire, and they've given you a few to look at. So we have red buds blooming right now. You could look at a red bud. They're at the point where they're shedding their bloom. So if you can find one that's got a little pink and then look at their leaf, you know, that's a entire leaf. They have a leaf of a magnolia. Lots of people have those in their yard. And then they have a live oak. We really don't have a lot of live oaks here, but several people have magnolias. Then we have toothed leaves. They have like the birch or the chestnut is what they have right there. Of course, would probably be an ornamental chestnut or an Asian chestnut because our Native American chestnut died out. They have either small, sharp teeth or large, blunt leaves. And then, like that white oak leaf or the Aurelia leaf that they have there, that's a lobed leaf. It has extensions, kind of like your lobe, your earlobe. And so, learn to recognize leaves as either being lobed or not lobed, or as being entire or toothed. Now, there are some trees. The most famous one probably being the sassafras that has different type leaves and leaf margins on it. So a sassafras has one that kind of looks like a mitten, and then it has one that kind of looks like this too. Of course, I don't know if you like it. You don't use the leaves, you use the roots of the sassafras tree to make a sassafras tea, which I thought was really hideous when I grew up. But, you know, sometimes they use sassafras and other types of flavors and stuff too. But that's just, you know, an Appalachian thing if you want to go out and check that out. So one last thing to look at leaves is their venation. That's actually their vein patterns. There are types of venation: parallel, pinnate, palmate. And in parallel venation, several main veins seem to run parallel to each other, the leaf of the leaf. Then we have lilies, amaryllises, grasses, most other monocots, and you can just notice that in a grass leaf. It's very parallel. In contrast to monocots, all dicots have pinnate or palmate venation. A leaf with pinnate venation has small veins branching from one vein. You've got pictures there of a maple. Solomon seal and the arrowhead, that is parallel, or pinnate venation comes from the dogwood. And then your maple is your palmate venation. Once again, hold up your hand. That looks like a hand or a palm. That's how those veins are coming out. So we have finished your lesson today on leaf arrangements, and just I sent home with you 2 quizzes, one over the grass family 2.3, 2.4, and the other one, one over the grass family, one over your previous chapter. So if you have any questions, let me know, and other than that, have a great day. See ya.